Hello and welcome to NexTalks. I'm Nex, and this is where I talk. Today we're talking about letting go. We have spring right around the corner, and spring cleaning is on the minds of many people. Many people are cleaning out their homes and practicing letting go of their material goods, so I thought this would be a good season to talk about the concept of letting go and some strategies to let go in different areas of your life. I'm a Hatha yoga teacher, and we learned about the concept of letting go in the yoga practice. So in yoga, there are 8 limbs, or 8 different branches or parts of yoga. And the first of these branches is known as the yamas, and these are the things that you avoid in yoga. One is violence, one is lying, one is stealing, one is being sexually promiscuous, and one is being possessive and gripping and clinging and grasping to things. So that one is known as aparigraha, and that is the yogic practice of letting go and the practice of non-attachment. So I love that word, aparigraha. It always reminds me to let go, to relax, and to remember that everything in life, everything on this earth, everything in this world and in our experience is finite. We don't go on forever, and therefore nothing will truly belong to us, and nothing truly belongs to us to begin with. And that's not to say that we don't go past death in some way that we can't maybe conceive of or understand, but I just mean that you can't take anything with you when you die. So in terms of material goods, material possessions, sometimes that can be helpful to remember that we're going to eventually be without all of these things someday anyway, so if something is taken a little prematurely, it's okay, and try to maintain that big perspective. You know, if something that you value gets broken or stolen or you misplace it, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, things are just things. And once we can change our relationship with things, we can change our relationship with thoughts and other types of energies or possessions that we cling to and that we grasp onto. And we can start to change that as well and start to let go in the mind too. I'm recording this episode about 1 week into March, and this subject of letting go has come up in many different ways and from a bunch of different people and experiences in my life just in these 3 months at the start of the new year in 2023. So I wanted to talk about this because it's obviously on the minds of a lot of people, and I'm not the only person on earth that can work on this and develop a better relationship and perspective around my attachments. In fact, I was inspired to do this episode today in a conversation I had earlier with my friend Fern, who is here staying with me for a few days, and we were talking about the physical aspect of decluttering, getting rid of things, and how freeing that is. And I just keep having these types of conversations with people so much lately, and I'm in the process of doing this myself that I thought, okay, this is a perfect time to talk about this. So even though our official theme for this year is still use your voice, this concept of non-attachment and letting go is really prevalent and definitely a strong secondary theme coming up, at least in the circles I run around in. And I'd love to hear from you if you've been thinking about this, if this has been on your mind as well. So let's start with that. Let's start with the physical act of letting go of things and possessions and belongings. And of course, there's so much that can be said about this subject, and I may do another episode on something very specific within this subject. If you have something that really jumps out, or something you know about, or something that you feel like I gloss over, just let me know and we can go deeper in a future episode. But just as an overarching theme, like I said, spring is right around the corner. The spring equinox is in about 2 weeks, and people are starting to maybe look around you right now and look at kind of the winter nest you've created over this colder time of the year, a time of more rest and maybe introspection, reflection, maybe a little bit more time alone. And oftentimes during this kind of hibernation season, sometimes we can really build ourselves comfort items and different things into our nest, and we start to look around, and maybe over time and over multiple winters and seasons, we can spot some things that no longer serve or support us, that maybe we can toy with the idea of starting to let go and clearing out as the spring approaches. So if you're not feeling any resistance and you're ready to get started on this, I'll just talk to you. If you're still having some resistance, we're going to get into kind of the mindset around letting go and different mental practices. But for those of you who aren't feeling that resistance and you're ready, you can see things in your environment, you're ready to start letting go of things or clothing or whatever it is, some kind of clutter. You're ready to declutter and organize and have a more feng shui vibe in your environment, then the number one recommendation I have is Marie Kondo. She is an expert in this department, and she has a really, really great, effective, and useful strategy that I use myself. I use it regularly, and it's the strategy, as far as I know, is called the life-changing magic of tidying up. And this is the name of the book that she wrote explaining the entire process. And she really digs in deep to the mindset around this. So if this is something that sounds like the kind of magic you could use in your life, you can definitely check out her book. I highly recommend it. It's very streamlined. It's very useful. It's basically a checklist item that will take you step by step through every different category of item that you own, different rooms and categories throughout your house to make sure that you're gathering everything from the whole house and really doing a nice purge, doing a nice pruning, because just like with a bush that gets a little overgrown, as we prune it and, cut some of the dead stuff off, we actually help it. We help it to live a more vibrant and full life, and we make way for the new. And not only do I love that she uses this really helpful checklist, she has a really beautiful way of treating these things as you let them go. She says to thank them. Spend a moment with each item before you let it go and just thank it for whatever energy it brought into your life, whatever purpose it served. Thank it for teaching you that lesson or giving you that support, and then let it go. It's more mindful, it's more meaningful, and it can be really helpful to think, okay, yeah, I did cherish you at some point. I used you a lot or wore you a lot, and now I let you go to this next season and cycle of your life, rather than holding on to you and forcing you to stay here where you're not getting that same value anymore. I'm not using you. I'm not appreciating you. I'm not viewing you. You're shoved away in a closet somewhere collecting dust because I'm not going to let you go, where someone else might be completely invigorated by the new energy that they find from this item, just like you did when you first came across it. What I like about it is that it's a ritual. It's a beautiful ritual of thanking and letting go each item as you purge your items. And it's just a beautiful kind of ceremony to say goodbye to these things that have all served some type of purpose in your life to this point. And as you let these items go and let them go on to the next season and cycle of their life, you do the same for yourself. They go on to a new season, and you now start a new season also. And no matter how ready you feel to start this process, as you go through it, I challenge you to bring a meditative state to this. Really keep yourself present and aware of what's happening, because chances are you are going to find some resistance and some attachment to something that may catch you by surprise. Maybe you didn't expect to feel so attached to certain items, and you start to learn a little bit more about your own mindset. For me, sometimes I have a mindset of scarcity where I feel like if I let something go, what if I don't have enough? And I've found that those beliefs and fears are usually much deeper than some attachment to some sweatshirt or something like that. It can run much deeper. So I challenge you to bring a meditative state to this practice so that you can start to learn why you might be feeling so attached or so detached from different items, and what that's really saying about your inner state. Because obviously your state of mind affects your environment and how well you can tend to your environment, but the environment has an impact on your mind as well. And that's where the idea of feng shui comes from. The actual practice of feng shui is an ancient Chinese one that incorporates many different spiritual aspects outside of just the home and how the home and where the home is situated, but it is an aspect of this. And they also talk about the yin-yang theory within feng shui, which is about polarity, it's about balance and harmony, and it's about energy, or what the Chinese practitioners of feng shui called qi, and trying to find the ideal balance of yin and yang and different energies to kind of keep your qi optimized or your energy optimized. So I think for me as a modern person that this is going to be different for everyone, and there isn't really like clear-cut laws and rules and order around this practice. It's really about what makes your energy feel ideal, what makes you feel good, what balances and harmonizes your energy, where do you look forward to spending your time. And that's how you're going to find your expression of feng shui, or whatever you want to call how you choose to care for and tend to your environment, and therefore to yourself. In Marie Kondo's method, she asks, does this item spark joy for me? So it's a similar concept here of, is this bringing positive energy that I want into my environment, or am I ready to let it go? As I'm recording this, I can hear so many parallels as I'm trying to stay focused on letting go of material things and just cleaning out your home and bringing items that bring you joy and happiness into your environment. I can't help but hear the parallels between letting go of material things and also letting go of attachments in terms of relationships with people. And this doesn't have to be romantic, but it certainly can be. But just the nature of our relationships with people. Does this relationship still spark joy for you? Does this relationship make you feel balanced? Does it make you feel harmonious? Does it make you feel joyful? Do you want to spend a lot of time in this relationship exchanging energy with this person? Or are you ready to let it go? And only you can answer that. So you might need to take some time to reflect and meditate on this. What does your heart truly desire? Because we don't have to let go of every relationship. Many relationships will last for quite some time. But we should always have the idea in our mind of letting go and having healthy, balanced relationships with people where they are free to go. They can come and go as they like, and we're not clinging and grasping to needing this person to show up for us in our life in a certain way in order for us to feel validated or to feel loved, and really start working on these things. Like, what if I was to lose every one of my material possessions? What if I was to lose every single one of my relationships? What would that mean? What would that leave me with? And these are all really powerful tools to start to free the mind. So I know that you're never going to be able to guess what I suggest for helping with freeing the mind and practicing letting go, but it is meditation. I swear I'm feeling like I'm recommending meditation on every single podcast episode and in so many conversations that I have. It's just so important to be meditating every single day, because everyone is different, and how this is going to go for you is going to be unique to you and your life experiences and whatever works for you. So some of you are ready to start purging and cleaning and letting go of things and immediately start tidying up your home. And then in that process, you start to experience the emotions, the attachments, the introspection, the reflection, and the deeper work that comes from this. And some of you are going to have to start there and start with the reflection. Why do I feel so much resistance to even beginning? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling fear? And really work through these things, which is so beautifully facilitated in meditative experiences. Very recently, I attended a meditation class at a Buddhist temple, and they talked about in Buddhism how one of the big practices is infusing your dharma, or your spiritual practices and the things that you do to facilitate spiritual realizations, incorporating that dharma and that energy into everything that you do, because death is going to come for all of us one day, and we may not see it coming. So are we going to wish that we had done more numbers on the spreadsheet? Or are we going to wish that we had connected and spent more time on these deeper things, this deeper work? Maybe you feel the first, but if you feel like you're going to wish that you had spent more time on things that maybe have a bit deeper meaning, then how can you infuse this meditative spiritual type practice into your everyday life? I would say start by infusing any bit of that into your life, by starting a daily meditation practice, even if it is just 5 minutes a day, to find a little bit of inner peace and have a little bit of reflection and mental digestion as part of your daily ritual. I think you're going to find a lot of locks start to unlock, and a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of aha moments, and a lot of reflections about yourself. And if you care to share them with me, I would love to hear them on your journey. You know, I'm always sharing these types of breakthroughs and things that I have in my content, but I love, love, love to hear from you guys so much. So let me know what's coming up for you as you incorporate any one of the practices that we talked about here today. And I'd like to share one with you now that's very short, just to give you an idea of what a meditative practice on non-attachment might be like. There are many different ways to practice this, but let's try this one here today together. Start by relaxing your body and finding a comfortable position. Settling down. Taking a deep breath. Allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Notice how your body is feeling. Notice how your breath is flowing in and out. Become aware of your mind. Notice anything happening in the mind, thoughts, feelings, ideas. And now picture a bunch of sailboats sailing beautifully and slowly across some water. Begin to attach any thought that comes up, anything at all. Begin to attach each one of those to its own sailboat and allow it to sail on by, not forcing it to stay, realizing there are many different sailboats that come and go across these waters, and allowing your mind to become like this, to allow thoughts to come and go without becoming overly attached to any of them. You can continue with this practice for as long as you'd like, and you can use this practice as often as you like. Allowing yourself to relax your concentration when you're done, gently bringing energy back into your body and bringing yourself back into a waking state. There was a lot more I was going to cover with you here today, but we're about 20 minutes into the episode, and I think this is a good stopping point. Like I said, I do have a guest visiting me, and we are supposed to be doing something in just a couple of minutes, so I'm glad that I was able to get this episode recorded for you guys, and I'm glad to have content for a future episode, and we can go a lot deeper and explore even more about this subject of letting go and aparigraha. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of NexTalks. I'm Nex. I talked. I hope you liked it. If you did, please consider supporting this show. And if there's anything else you'd like to hear me talk about, let me know. You can leave it in the comments or you can reach out to me on social media. Thanks again.